Morning, everyone. How are you this morning? This is Debbie Scott, your Stampin' Up! Demonstrator from Brigden, Ontario. And if you're just finding my channel, welcome. Or if you are a regular, thank you so much for coming back. So this week, well, today is Monday, and it's Make a Card Monday, so I'm going to be doing some sympathy cards. I was at a vendor event on the weekend and I sold all of my sympathy cards. So I have a couple more vendor events coming up. So I wanted to restock, and this is an amazing paper pack for that purpose. So it is Monday, November the 10th. And for us here in Southwestern Ontario, we have blowy snow. It is not so nice out there today. It's actually fairly sunny, but it is cold and windy and snowy. Not my favorite kind of day. So today I am working with the beautiful Gallery 6x6 DSP. And this is part of a mega suite because there are 2 bundles included in this suite. So there's this one with the beautiful flowers and then the dies to go with that, and then this one is more of a greetings or sentiment set and some great dies to go with that as well. It also has an embossing folder, some gems, and some ribbon. So kind of unlike me, I only bought the paper. I didn't buy anything else in the suite. I really liked the paper. I wanted to see what we could do with just the paper. So I did need to pull in some sentiments to go with that. And when I was looking through my stash, I realized I didn't have a ton of current sentiment sets that have sympathy in them. So I went back to this one. And this set came with the Beautiful Blues kit. So that card kit is this one here, which is still available. I did notice it said it was on low inventory when I looked this morning, but it is available as of right now, and it's absolutely beautiful. I really liked this kit. I did a lot with this one. So if you look back through my Instagram or my Facebook, you will be able to find it. Instagram's a bit quicker to look through, but when you're looking back for something. But I did a lot with this kit. I really liked it. So I held on to the stamp set because the greetings in it are really nice. So we have You're in My Thoughts, Wishing You Comfort, and Sending Love. And then this is a great little sprig to fussy cut and add to your projects. So that is the stamp set that I'm going to be using today. So when you do those card kits, don't get rid of those little stamp sets. Make sure you hold on to them because they're great for other projects as well. Just going to grab a drink here. So this is our paper pack, and it's super pretty. I'm going to be using the scenes from the A side. This one is one of my favorites. It's so pretty. And we have a sailboat set that a lot of people coordinated with this paper, and it was absolutely gorgeous. I think this is all of the paper. I'm not 100% sure. There might be some that I have already used it all, because I did use this a while ago for some scrapbooking projects. So I can't remember if I've got it all here or not. That one's really pretty. I saw some people color these flowers in, and it looked great. So pretty. That one's pretty too. I don't think I used that one. It would be great for what we're doing today as well. And these papers were actually the reason that I bought it, because I absolutely love this one. This would make a great Halloween card. It kind of looks a little spooky. And then that one, and that's got some, oh, there we go, that way. Some trees on the background, or on the back. So I pulled out a few. I've got 3 different ones here, but I'm actually only going to use 2. But I just wanted to bring out 3 examples. That would be great. So I need to cut these down. And when you're working with scene papers, it's a little bit hard to know where to cut them. So the front of my card is going to be all of this, and then I'm just adding a sentiment and some embellishments. So what I've done is I've cut a piece of our clear acetate. We do sell this as well. It's in, I think, a 2-pack, 12 by 12 sheets. I think you get 2 of them. So this is 3 3/4 by 5 is what I have cut my clear acetate to. Hopefully you can kind of see that on the video. And the reason I've done that, I need my pencil, is so that I can kind of lay it down and see where I want to cut. So I see, do I want to have this tree in here, and this is the valley with the river. I want to have a bit of that as well. If I go over all the way to the left hand side of the page, then you don't have any of this tree. And also you think, how much sky do I want to have? Or do I want to have more of the bottom? So I think I want to have a little bit of that tree because it does create a bit of visual interest to have that kind of on an angle. The other thing I want to think about is, where do I want to put my sentiment? So I think for this one, I decided to do my sentiment up at the top. So I am going to leave quite a bit of the clouds there. So I have space for that. So I think I'm going to go right about there. Now you could measure this. You don't necessarily have to. I'm just going to put a little tick mark there for my first cut. Just going to pull in my trimmer. And there's my little tick mark there. I apologize about my fingernails. They didn't last very long this time. All right, so I'm going to cut off that little piece. I'm going to hold on to my scraps until the end in case I need them. So I said 3 3/4. Just want to make sure. Yes, 3 3/4 by 5. So I think I will cut a little bit off of the end. Let me bring that, my little acetate piece back. Yeah, if I cut a little bit off the end, then that leaves me lots of space for my sentiment at the top. And that piece is going to be by 5. So that's going to be the front of one of our cards. I am going to cut this second one just while I've got it out. I think I'm going to use this one, but I'll just show you on here. Kind of a nice place to lay that. This makes it really easy to figure out where to cut. So I do have quite a bit of this base in the bottom. I think I would use all of the flowers at the top. You cut off a bit of the base and then add my greeting at the bottom. And rather than center it, I would go off to one edge to keep all of this included in my page or in my card. This way you're going to have this sprig cut off. So I would go in this direction and probably right about there, maybe down even a little bit, and then cut it there. And then put my sentiment at the bottom. And I think that would look really pretty. I may do that one after. So for this one here, I have to decide, do I want to do all of the little houses here, the cottages, or do I want to have some of the path? I think it's a path, not a river. or a creek. It could be. So I think I want to have some of that path in there, and I want to keep some of the clouds. But for this one, I'm going to put my sentiment across the bottom. So I think I'll go right about there. So I'm going to do the same thing. I'm just going to use my pencil and just make that first little mark here. And then while I'm at it, I think I will put a mark across here because that's where I want to cut as well. So this acetate piece, it's not going to be wasted. I'll use that on another project. If I was doing a shaker card, I could still use that piece, but it just makes it a little bit easier with this paper that's all a scene to know exactly where you want to cut. So here's my mark here. And then I'm going to 3 3/4. So I have all of that main cottage in there. And then there's my mark there. It's kind of hard to see on this paper, my little pencil line. And I want to go to 5 inches. And I think we're done with that. So these have some great colors in it. I've decided to go with a mossy meadow layer and a basic beige card base. So my card base is 8.5 by 5.5, scored at 4 1/4. And then my mossy meadow layer, I like to have a variety of sizes for my mats. So I have made my basic beige layer, like the mat, a bit bigger, and then the mossy meadow quite a bit smaller. So that one is 3 7/8 by 5 1/8. If you don't like dealing with eighths, just make it 1/4 of an inch bigger and it would still look great. I'm going to go ahead and lay that down. And then I'm going to use some dimensionals. I just want to make sure I have this going the right way. Anybody else done that? Make your whole card and then realize it's upside down. Okay, so this one I'm going to do a strip across for my greeting. And then I'm going to add a few little flourishes here, so I want to put my words more to this side. Where did I set that? Oh, there it is, underneath my ink. So I'm going to do Sending Love. And I'm going to stamp in Mossy Meadow. My Mossy Meadow, I think I need to re-ink it. It's just getting a little bit light. I'm going to go, I want it to be about there. So I'm going to let that sit for a minute to get all that ink into my paper. There, that doesn't look too bad. So that is going to go across here. And I'm going to cut that. I think I did it 4 inches. I'm just going to check on my example here and make sure I'm telling you the right thing. I did 4 inches, yeah. So it's going to hang over a little bit. But I kind of think it looks cool like that. Adds a little bit of visual interest to the card. I'm just going to put that on flat. One thing I want to kind of eyeball here is where I want those sprigs. I think right about there will look good. So I have pulled in some sprigs from one of my new favorites, Label Me Grateful dies. These ones are so awesome. I find them very versatile. You can cut this. I did it in red. I did a bunch of Christmas cards. I did this in green and this in red, and then you can kind of use it for Christmas as well. Or this and what I've done today, and it's more generic. It doesn't have to just be for fall. The acorns were great for fall, and the oak leaves were great for fall, but this is also such a great little label piece. I've really, really liked this die set. Super versatile. Okay, so I'm going to just use a glue dot. I'm going to put 2 on here just to be safe. You could use liquid glue for this as well. I'm just too messy with liquid glue. I prefer a glue dot. That's going to go there. And then the same with this. I'm going to use a glue dot for that. And then I have made a little linen thread. I believe this linen thread bow. And this comes in a 2-pack right now. And you get early espresso and old olive in the pack. I'm going to use another glue dot here. There we go. If you don't like those long, you can trim those up. And then for my embellishments, I am using the adhesive back dragonflies and birds. These are retired, but I just kind of wanted to use some of them up because I've got quite a few left here. If you don't have these, another great embellishment would be the brushed brass butterflies. Hard to spit that out. But those would be a great one too. But I just wanted to kind of use up a few of these birds. Okay, and then for the inside, now I have created a layer to add inside. You absolutely don't have to. I just kind of like the weight that it adds to the card. When you've got quite a few layers and some embellishments on the front, it can make it a little bit front heavy when your recipient tries to stand it up. So this kind of combats that. It adds a bit of weight to the back of your card. So we put sending love on the front. So I'm going to do You're in My Thoughts for the inside. And before I stamp that, I'm going to bring back my scraps here. And I just want to add a little strip down the side. So I think I'll use this piece here because it's got the little cabin there. I am going to trim it though, so it's shorter, and I want that to be 5¼ inches by, really doesn't matter. I could do 1/2 inch. I could do 3/4 of an inch. I might take a little sliver off of here. And then do it 1/2 inch. And then I'm going to take a little bit of Mossy Meadow, and I want it 5¼ as well. It's a little short, but I'm going to make it work. But I am going to cut it to 1/2 inch in width. Well, just going to add a little bit of adhesive here. And then remember, it was a little short, so I'm going to try to center that. There we go. I'm going to add that to the inside. And that just kind of nicely brings in a little bit of the front to the inside of our card. And then I'm going to stamp my greeting inside. See, it's a little white there. So I think I need to reink it. And that's going to be the inside. And actually, these birds are super flat, as are the butterflies. So I'm just going to add one to the inside as well. Okay, so there's card number 1. So we've got our front for card number 2. We're going to layer it onto a piece of Mossy Meadow. And then we are going to pop it up onto a piece of basic beige. These cards would probably also work really great for masculine cards as well. I'm going to put that centered on there. I did everything the same size. Now I have stamped Sending Love again, and then I cut it out using using Stylish Shapes dies, the banner, and I'm going to put that at the top. So I wasn't exactly sure where I wanted to cut this, because I'm going to make a little bow to go on there as well. So I've just pulled in some early espresso ribbon. This is a retired ribbon that I just have. This is all I have left of it. I just had a little piece sitting on my desk here. I thought this would be a perfect way just to kind of use that up. We do have some Mossy Meadow ribbon that is available for sale, that would work great. So I just use a glue dot to kind of hold that in place for while I am tying this. How do I want to do this? I want to go this way. I'm going to trim this. Sometimes I will just leave it until I've got my bow tied. So then I don't waste as much. But on camera, it's a little bit easier to do it like this. I'm just going to tie a knot here. If you don't like it curly, you can kind of just use your fingernail and run along the twine, and that will straighten it out a little bit. I don't mind it looking curly. I'm going to trim some of it off though, because that is pretty long. So that is going to go there. So I'm just going to mark this. I should have actually adhered this first before I adhered this to my card, and then I could have just trimmed it with my scissors. Trimmed off the extra. But this will work too. And I'm going to adhere that flat. Oops. Now I'm just going to use a few glue dots to put my ribbon on. There we go. And I'm going to add a few embellishments to the front. There we go. And then I have a piece of basic beige for my inside. And then I'm going to bring in my scrap pieces here from the front. That's from the other one. So I've got that piece. I think that will work. And I don't even have to trim it widthwise. I'll have to trim it lengthwise. But I will do that after. So I'm going to put this one flush with the top. Then I'm going to adhere it to my card stock piece. And I just know how much adhesive to put on there. That's going to go there. And then this way I can just use my scissors to trim it. And then I'm going to do You're in My Thoughts on the inside. I did get a bit of green ink on my block there, so I just want to be careful that I don't rock my stamp and get that ink on my card. And close this up before I stick my card in it, because I have done that before. Go. Okay. So the two cards that we have made today, this one and this one. So super quick and absolutely beautiful. This paper is great. I love it. I don't know if I can fit all 6. Here's some more that I made. So this was similar to this one. This one is similar to this one. And then the other sheets that I used, oh yeah, I didn't show you this sheet, so I must not have any of it left. And then there's the one with the boats. So that one I put the banner over top, and I just used dimensionals for it. And this one has Secret Sea for the background, and I used some blue embellishments, some florals. Those are current. And the same with that one. This one I stamped my sentiment straight onto the paper, and then just did some leaves and twine at the bottom there. So there we go. So I will be back on Wednesday. I won't be using the same product though. I'm going to be using a scrapbooking kit. So I will be back on Wednesday, and until then, I hope you have a great week. Thanks for watching. Bye.